In today's society, music taste can fall on a broad spectrum. A certain hue in this spectrum can be derived from one's culture, entertainment, or simply one's current mood. One of these hues that is commonly known today is the genre lo-fi. In a world that moves so fast, music listeners tend to direct their attention towards this genre of music. Go online or outside in the city, and one will find themselves in a constant swarm of information and the hustles in life. Utilizing the elements of distortion and repetition, lo-fi promotes a certain aesthetic that soothes the listener's mind from the rushes of life and brings the listener into a nostalgic state. Although there are many ways in approaching the production of lo-fi music, one method can be evidently compared to the procedures of cooking. Thus, producing a simple lo-fi beat begins with preparing what components you will use, arranging these components, and then mixing them into one cohesive unit. To begin with, gathering the necessary components will lay the foundation in creating a lo-fi piece. The production of lo-fi will require a laptop, a music software installed, and musical samples. One preferable music software will be the well-known FL Studio. When researching for musical samples, use one of the leading sample storage platforms, Splice. When one is on the Splice platform, begin searching for the following categories: a melodic sample, a variety of percussive sounds, and a rain sample to provide the nostalgic atmosphere. These percussive instruments will include a kick, a snare, and a hi-hat. Here are the samples to use. Once the ingredients have been collected, download those samples and drag and drop them into the music software. Additionally, on the platform YouTube, sample an inspiring quote said by Bruce Lee, a famous martial artist, about water.
Be formless, shapeless, like water.
Now, put the audio into an MP3 converter and drop it into the music software. With all the material set, arranging the musical components will be the next stage in producing a lo-fi beat. On FL Studio, change the tempo to 85 beats per minute to correspond with the chosen melodic sample. To begin arranging the samples on the playlist, first, drag and drop the melodic sample 3 times onto track 1. Using the Bruce Lee sample, drop it beneath the melodic sample on track 2 so that it can play simultaneously with the melody. When tackling the percussive part of the lo-fi piece, make a drum pattern. For this beat, go to the channel rack and create a pattern that goes in harmony with the melodic sample. To minimize redundancy, create another drum pattern that is different than the previous pattern. Now that you have 2 distinct drum patterns to use, alternate the drum patterns on track 3 as it plays with the melodic sample. Now, drag and drop the rain sample onto the playlist on track 4 to provide the lo-fi ambience throughout the piece. With all the samples arranged, we march onwards toward the final phase of the cooking process. Mixing the arrangements into one cohesive symphony will further strengthen the tone of the lo-fi piece. For context, mixing in music is essentially manipulating the levels of the sounds and utilizing effects to tweak the sounds in the beat. In this lo-fi piece, begin assigning a different track number for each of the samples used in order to individually mix them. Through trial and error, find the perfect medium among the volumes of the samples so that one sound can avoid being too aggressive or soft in the mix. Furthermore, for the melodic sample, use the iZotope Vinyl plugin to tweak the tuning and the date of the sound. These tweaks can be made by increasing the warp gain and adjusting the date to 1970. Since the low-end frequencies are evidently heard in the lo-fi genre, using the equalizer plugin, dip the high frequencies of the hi-hat, kick, snare, and the rain sample. And voila! Let's check out the finished product.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. But you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.